Mountain Batten Leisure Centre in Portsmouth for the afternoon session on the final day's play in the 2012 World Press Parks World Seniors Snooker Championships, live on Sky Sports 3 HD. Just 8 remain, and this is how the afternoon's play lines up. 6-time champion of the world Steve Davis plays Darren Morgan in a repeat of last year's final. Then second on the table is Dean O'Kane against the whirlwind Jimmy White, and Robidoux against Tony Chappell is our third match this afternoon. And we finish with former world number 2 Tony Knowles against Nigel Bond. Yeah, good to see you again. We started the day yesterday with 4 world champions, and as you've just seen, only one of them has made it into the quarter-finals. And with 6 world titles to his name, the Nugget looks like one of the favourites, but will need to be at his best if he's to win his first World Seniors title. Because, as we found out yesterday, form is temporary, but class is permanent.
Defending champion versus former world champion. Well, it's clear that Joe Johnson is up against it.
You can do absolutely nothing wrong here.
A top-class performance from Darren Morgan, not just by senior standards, but any standards.
Dennis Taylor, 1985 world champion, against the man that's active on the tour still, Nigel Bond. Dennis, he found it's the other way around. Nigel Bond knuckled down when he had to. The break of 31 seals the opening frame.
Wow, what a shot. That's the shot of the day so far. There seems to be an extra ball on the table. Where's that come from? Oh, well, that is it. Nigel Bond gets revenge for last year. This time he beats Dennis Taylor.
2 legends of the 80s. It was never going to be easy. Cliff Thorburn leads Steve Davis by a frame to 0. What went wrong?
So we were talking about it earlier.
Steve Davis has made the frame secure.
Cliff is slowly running out of chances here.
If I can just play 1 second faster.
Steve is looking pretty comfortable now.
It's Steve Davis who goes through the winner by 2 frames to 1.
We've got the Tornado Tony Drago, the fastest crew on Earth. And this is a big match for Tony Chappell, probably the biggest match he's played in the last 10 or 15 years of his career. That'll be the first frame to Tony Chappell.
Tony's one of these inspirational players. One good pot can turn right away around.
It was very, very scrappy, but that went with Tony Drago. He's levelled.
Well, he's cued that to perfection. What a terrific shot that was.
Tony Drago will be very disappointed. It's Tony Chappell who books his place in the quarter-final.
Jimmy White is clearly the favourite for this match.
Little gem. Great shot.
Pretty steady stuff from Jimmy White. Shows how match tight he is. Shame about that. Pretty impressive performance in the end.
Yeah, late last night Jimmy White booked his place in the last day. I'm joined by 1985 world champion Dennis Taylor and the great WT, who needs no introduction whatsoever. Dennis, we'll start with you first. A great day yesterday. Great to see the golden generation of snooker in action.
Yeah, and they were all very nervous, quite rightly so. It's a big ordeal to come out in front of the TV cameras when you haven't done it for quite a while. Some of the boys are still used to it. Very impressed with Tony Chappell. It's 12 years since Tony played on the pro circuit, and he looked pretty solid. He's got a good cue action, and that was a good win to knock out Tony Drago, because Tony was definitely one of the favourites, but you could see how nervous Tony was. He just couldn't get going.
Willie, from what we saw yesterday, some games were good, some frames were a little bit scrappy. Can we gain anything from watching yesterday to work out who's going to do what today?
Well, the plus is yesterday, Darren Morgan played superb and Jimmy finished the evening off playing very well. I think the thing is, as Dennis rightly said, they've not played on the television lights for quite some time, so consequently the games weren't flowing. I think now the fact they've had games on the table, I think today we're in for a bit of a classic.
Okay, we started with 16 yesterday, we've got 8 this afternoon, and by the end of the afternoon we'll have just 4. But what 4? Let's remind ourselves of the draw. Obviously all the these games coming up live this afternoon right here on Sky, and we play to a finish tonight. We start with the Nugget, Davis against Morgan, O'Kane against the Whirlwind, Robidoux Chapel, and Tony against Nigel. Dennis, I'll ask you first, if you can sort of tell us what's going to happen in the first few games. A repeat of last year's final as well, Davis against Morgan. Now, I've chatted to Willie in great detail about this game, and he seems to think that whoever is going to win it has got more chance of coming out of this game.
It's going to be a fascinating game. Darren's the defending champion. Steve's lost to Darren in the final last year, to Jimmy the year before. Steve will be after a bit of revenge here, but Darren looked probably yesterday looked the most consistent. But can he keep it going against Steve Davis? Because Steve want to reverse that result from last year.
Let's have a look at who the bookies fancy for this, because I think they go with Nigel Bond, favourite, joint with Jimmy White. There you go. And then Darren, as Dennis was just talking about, just over 3 1/3 to 1. Davis 4s. Alain Robidoux, who I picked out yesterday, still there at 6.5. And the outsiders, Willie, 33 to 1 for Tony Knowles and Dean O'Kane at 22s. And Tony Chappell, who's Dennis quite rightly said he's playing very well. Can it be an outsider? We are left with 8. I mean, surely anyone, it's the first of 2. Anyone's got a chance of winning.
Well, you'd have to say that, but I think the fact that the 4 of the players are still regularly on the main tour, I think it's going to come from the top 4 in the betting. I think it'd be tough for an outsider to win, even though it is the best of 3. I think the more experience on television lights, but the more and more we have with more and more seniors tournaments, some of the outsiders will have a better chance. But I think the winner of this match, or Jimmy White, would go on to win the title.
And just finally, Dennis, we nearly saw it yesterday, a century break. I think a couple of times they were knocking on the door, the players, of that magical ton. Are we going to see one this year, do you think?
I would think so, but it's very difficult because this table is one of the quickest tables you could play on. This is as fast as any table on the main tour they've played. It's lightning, so it's difficult to keep control of the cue ball, but the talent's there, and there's no reason why we shouldn't have
Are
a
the
century.
pockets tighter, Dennis, or not?
There's not a lot of difference.
Okay.
It may be just slightly easier than on the main tour, but it's only a fraction. Yeah, only a fraction.
Dennis, I'll let you get into the commentary box. Willie, it's your time to put the kettle on. I did it yesterday. Time for our first game. We're going to meet the players, as always, introduced by our MC, Mr. John McDonald.
And a very warm welcome to the Mountbatten Centre here in Portsmouth. World Snooker proudly present the quarterfinals of the Wild Crest Park World Senior Championship. Coming to you live here on Sky Sports HD. 3 frames of snooker. Our referee in charge of the action is Arian Williams. And now it's time to meet the players. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The 6-time champion of the world, the one, the only, Steve Davis. And the reigning and defending world senior champion, Darren Morgan.
Nuggets, how are you feeling this morning?
Well, I was feeling good until I looked at the betting. I mean, like before the tournament, I was equal joint favourite, and obviously on the performance of yesterday, I've gone out to the 4th. It's quite depressing, really.
Were you pleased then with your performance? Because I was watching it, Steve, and I thought you could do better.
So did Clive. Obviously not. You know, it's been a real tough and turning night, thinking about where I went wrong that I've gone out in the betting. I'm up against somebody who's got more logos on them than I have. I don't know where to turn, really.
I'll ask you a question and maybe put the microphone over your right. Listen, getting back to the serious stuff now. Big game. I mean, this is for a place in the semi-finals, and you two met in the final last year. How are you going to approach this one, Darren?
Just try and pop more balls than Steve. That's all you can do, really. You know, it's that is it, really. It's, at the end of the day, like I said yesterday, it's best of 3. It is a bit of a lottery, no matter how well you play, no how bad you play. In over 3 frames, anything can happen.
I heard when you walked in this morning in the Players' Lounge, you said, I've been up all night practising. Yeah. I'm just questioning whether that was tongue-in-cheek or not.
It was definitely tongue-in-cheek, you know. Willie was having a bit, and Dennis were in the thing, and said, I bet you've been up. I said, I have, I'm going to bed now. And they said, well, you've got to play now. I said, oh, I forgot about that.
And finally, Steve, I don't know if you're aware of it, we spoke briefly about it yesterday, and Dennis mentioned it at the top of the show there. you have lost in the last 2 finals here at the World Seniors. Will that be playing on your mind?
Obviously now, yes. I mean, obviously this isn't a final, so I haven't got that worry until, you know, possibly, touch wood, I get to that terrible third time lucky type of thing. Actually, looking positively.
Yeah, tell that to Jimmy.
Yeah, right.
Good luck. Steve Davis, Darren Morgan, everyone. Thanks, guys. As always, if you have any question you want to ask the players, you can send them in at any stage during the show. Just send your tweet to @SkySnooker. Right, Dennis has made it into the commentary box, and he's sat next to the wonderful Clive Everton.
So much for the banter. The serious business begins now. All-time great versus defending champion. Darren Morgan's first scoring shot yesterday was 75. It'd be very nice for him if he could play as well as that again.
Well, he needs to shape a bit better with his water. He can't get the water out of the bottle there. He's struggling a little bit.
No. Take the gloves off now.
Okay.
Have a good game, Steve.
Okay, done. Thank you. The first frame, Darren Morgan to break.
Steve Davis has won everything, more than once in most cases, but the World Seniors title is the one gap on his CV, and obviously the longer he leaves it, the more difficult it's going to be to put that right.
Yes, because it's over 45s, Clive, and there's a few more decent players waiting to come through and play in the seniors. It won't be long until the likes of Stephen Hendry, Ken Doherty, you know, they'll start appearing in the World Seniors.
Yes, Peter Ebdon too.
Well, okay, he hasn't finished nicely on a black, but that opening pot shows you how well he is cueing. He's close to the cushion, and he delivered that cue in a straight line.
Black one.
Can still pot the black, but he'd have to hold it for the red at the back of the bunch here. He might be able to do that. There's a perfect picture of the shot. He's got a similar shot into the opposite middle with the red. And if he can pop this red in the middle pocket, as we show you the black disappear again. Not easy into the middle pockets, those shots. But I don't know if he can get an angle on a colour to then pot the colour and move the reds. This looks pretty straight. Yeah, now you can see it. Absolutely straight.
9.
So an early tee shot coming up. If he takes the black, he'll have to play it with side. And on these fast tables, Clives, it makes this type of pot quite difficult. Just show you the red going in again. Lots of side. Watch the white coming off the cushion here. You'll see it into the bunch. Well, that wasn't a very positive shot. I think he edged his bets slightly there, Clive.
Yes, just trying to tickle the edge of the bunch there.
Yeah, it's another reason we talked about the century breaks not arriving yet, but the players, with being the best of three, they're a bit reluctant to go all out for it at the beginning. It's so important to get this opening frame under your belt.
they're not thinking about centuries, they're thinking about winning.
Well, there's a lot of prize money, £18,000 for the winner here.
Just make sure we've got the mobile
Well,
phones
he
off,
might
please.
take this on.
Thank you.
He's got a chance of taking this red, and he could get onto the black. There is a shot on here. He could pop this red past the black, and as you can see from the telestrator there, he could stun across, miss the pink and reds, and leave himself on the black. It's a possibility if he wishes to have a go at it, but that's certainly what I would be trying. He's got the cue power to play that shot. I'm surprised he's not taking it on. He's playing for the safety.
Well, like you, Dennis, I was a bit surprised because he could have attempted that red without any significant risk of leaving another red. However, he's played a good length on that safety. Davis realises that thin safety off the back red might clip it over the corner pocket, the left-hand corner pocket, that is.
Of course, he can give this plenty of thought. The shot clock doesn't come into operation until after 10 minutes. Not that he'll think about this shot for 10 minutes by any means.
I think yesterday was dominated by nostalgia. I think there'll be less emphasis on that today and more on the competitiveness of this event.
I remember talking about shot clocks in the early days of Pop Black. We used to have a meeting before they recorded, and the producers and directors said, try and get it over in 22 minutes. And Eddie Charlton was there at the meeting, and he says, well, if you think I'm coming all the way from Australia, if it takes an hour, it's going to take an hour, he said.
And Pop Black wasn't even live. The producers didn't want to leave themselves with too much editing.
Cat and mouse at the moment. An unwanted kiss there on the yellow. Who's going to make the mistake? It's a little bit like watching a game of chess with balls at the moment. This would be a nice one to knock in. No, Steve's made the first mistake. So Darren Morgan has been patient, and it's paid off.
Barring the double kiss, Davis wouldn't have left the kind of red that Morgan can go for.
One.
It's a pretty good chance this if he can get through to the black. Well, there's just enough room there.
Black one.
Well, he seemed to play it with the trace aside, and that's an unexpected miss there. Well, it was close, but not close enough. Willie at the top of the show, we're talking about the pockets on these tables. They are pretty tight. They're just fractionally easier, I think, than the main circuit tables, the main tour. Oh, unlucky. Now, you can't do anything about that. He might have covered everything, but he's very unfortunate to knock the black in. I mean, this was a good shot. And, well, you can't envisage that happening.
One. Shot clock in operation.
So 30-second time limit per shot in operation now.
Not sure about this one. Oh, has he gone through the gap? He
6.
has. He can get through to the one to the right corner. Well, he's bridging over the red. That's very tight, that. Taking the one to the middle pocket. Well, in fact, it's the safety shot, so he didn't finish on a red. So a bit of a let-off there.
Nothing on down the left because the pink is the end ball.
Well, he was forced into taking that pot on. I think he was reluctant to have a go at it, but there was no easy safety shot. And with the shot clock in operation, I think he just quickly decided to have a go at the difficult red and didn't get close to it.
One.
And this is a chance for Morgan to clinch the opening frame. Okay, he's only up to 24-0 so far, but plenty of reds available. Black on its spot.
You know, the set live that luck usually evens itself out, but I'm not a big fan of that, especially on a best of 3 frames. And that shot where Steve potted the red and accidentally knocked the black in has turned this frame on its head, really. No reason why Darren shouldn't score enough here to clinch this opening frame.
Eight.
He'd have to play a pretty careless shot not to keep the break going here, the way the reds are situated. This is how you would set them up to have a little practice session.
$15. 16. 23. 24.
This is how he started his opening match yesterday. I think he made a break of 75, if I'm
31.
not mistaken, Clive. So it's a good performance again from Darren Morgan. And as I say, he hasn't played under the television conditions since last year.
32.
He just looks so comfortable out there. And he said he's practicing 20 minutes a day. I think he's trying to pull the wool over our eyes, Clive.
Well, of course, he owns the club that he started playing in, the Red Triangle,
37.
Cross Keys. So he's got practice facilities available whenever he wants them.
He's let that one slip away, though. Okay, he may have the black to the middle pocket, but that... Okay, the frame's almost safe. Steve needs one snooker at the moment. He was playing to hold for the black there and just let the white run on. But if the black goes in, the frame is definitely his.
Time extension, please.
He's asked for the time extension. So black to clinch the opening frame. Not quite, so it's not all over just yet, this frame.
No, the black would have given him all the extra insurance he would have needed, but it's only one snooker required, assuming blacks or a combination of blacks and pinks from the four remaining reds.
Time extension, please.
Morgan would have been well aware that if he missed the black, he was pushing it to a much safer position than if it had remained near its spot.
Needs to finish nicely on pink or black, as Clive said, and he hasn't. This is a tricky little shot he's faced with here, and this must go in, otherwise the frame's definitely over. No, they're tough, those.
Steve Davis, 1.
If he had been able to convert the black there, looking at the way the colours are, he had a good chance. Look at the yellow, green, brown and pink. Perfect for snookers, but too many needed now.
You've got to say, haven't you, Dennis, that this is a very, very solid opening frame from Darren Morgan.
I couldn't agree more, Clive, and it says a lot about this Welsh player's character to be able to do this under these sort of conditions when he's not used to it. Makes it quite exceptional. Every credit to him. He won't bother about that.
8 in the first frame, Darren Morgan.
So Davis concedes. Morgan leads by a frame to nil, having taken good advantage of the shot that Steve Davis was forced into, but unluckily he knocked the black in. Now, Steve, that opening frame didn't go the way you wanted it to. What went wrong?
You take all the time and trouble to practice a couple of weeks for this event. pot of red, knocked the black in off a 72 ball plant. I don't know why I bother, to be quite honest. I'm thinking at this moment just jacking it all in. Not even bothering to play the next frame. It's touch and go. I don't know about you, Claire.
Darren, you seem to have a little game plan there. Am I right or not? Because you had a risky shot that you could have taken on. You decided against it and it paid off. Have you got a game plan against the great Steve Davis?
No, not really. I like to go for my shots, but to be fair, the two that he left me that were real dodgy ones that I was dying to go for, but I knew if I missed them, not only would I look really bad, but obviously you get a nice easy starter, so I refused them. But it went against the grain, as they say.
Yeah, so that is a little bit of a game plan then.
So, on we go.
Thank you. The second frame, Steve Davis to break.
Oh, that's a poor break-off shot, just a little bit of a lapse in concentration. He hasn't really left anything easy, but great to see Steve Davis enjoying himself out there. I mean, I've worked at lunches and dinners with Steve, and his sense of humour is, he goes on first and speaks, and he's very dry, and he really does have a lot of fun with the people, and he's a pleasure to work with. But make no mistake, he wants to win this badly.
Well, the red was so wide of the pocket that I can only assume that that pot wasn't attempted. And support for that theory comes in the fact that the cue ball got very near to getting behind the green.
Well, that's not the best from Steve. Okay, hasn't left anything easy, but that cue ball is a long way short of where he wanted it. He's left Darren a free shot here. The red goes in, he's on a balk colour. Well, he hasn't even attempted that, he's just concentrated on the safety shot. It was a sort of a pot that he could take on and get a good safety as well, but I think he's certainly has a game plan. He doesn't want to let Steve in amongst the balls, and it's not a bad way to play Steve Davis, because Steve in amongst the balls can be as good as ever. Now he's mishit that as well. That's in the pocket.
Foul.
He's trying to get in behind the
Darren
blue,
Morgan,
and he just hit it too thin. You'll maybe see Darren attempt a similar shot. So he put a little bit aside, caught the red much thinner than he intended. Now let's see if Darren can make a better job of it.
Didn't attempt it by your suggested route, but still a pretty decent effort. I think he was wary of hitting a red thick and opening the bunch rather further than he has.
Yeah, we keep talking about the cloth being so fast, and if you do play with a little touch aside, it does throw off quite a bit, so any shot attempted with side is much more difficult than if you were to strike at plain ball. That's where you hit the white more or less in the middle.
Darren Morgan adopting the policy that if Steve Davis is going to get in for a break, he's got to make the first shot from distance.
I had a little whisper in my ear there, Clive. Darren Morgan's now gone favourite, 2-1, having taken that opening frame. So the bookmakers are certainly on Darren's side.
Yeah, and that's not to win this match, that's to win the championship.
I think there's a few other players who have quite a say in who's going to be this year's Wildcrest Park Seniors World Champion.
This is authentic, tough match play snooker.
And it's gone very awkward, Clive. There's only two colours on their spots. Normally at this stage, well, most of the way through frames when professionals play, the colours tend to remain on their spots, but there's only the brown and the pink on their own spots. Going to be a bit of a tactical one, this.
Well, Davis didn't believe that that safety would prod a red over the left corner.
And of course, the way the balls have gone, it doesn't really matter if you pot a red. Where's the next colour coming from? There's only the brown that's nicely in the open.
Well, try to cannon the red and pink, good as anything. Pink and black tied up.
Well, he's looked at the two reds behind the pink, the two reds are together to see if there were a plant onto the red over the pocket, but he's quickly gone back to his original shot. He tried to move. Oh, I thought he'd fluked it. He was trying to move this red that was over the pocket with the other one and didn't get anywhere near it. Well, there's a nice easy opening red for Steve Davis. He should clear up from here, Clive. Look at the balls, the way they're situated. There's 1 point available. Where's his next colour? Can he screw back onto the red and pink? Has he got an angle to do that? Can he come off the cushion and just flick the pink out? That's what he's tried, but it hasn't come off.
One.
Tell you what, that was a clever shot from Steve Davis there. It really was, because he's opened the game up. Now watch this. Using the green to knock the red back up the table. Very clever. That's a pretty good length for the safety. He really has got the pace of this table, has Darren Morgan. That's not like Steve Davis to hit the safety shot so poorly again. He's not enjoying it at the moment. Okay, we're having lots of fun from 6 times former world champion, but He just can't get his act together at the moment. Looks a little bit despondent in the background there, Steve. Oh, that might brighten him up a little bit.
Morgan was always taking the cue ball back into baulk, but the red offers a possibility.
Now that's a bit more like Steve Davis. Terrific long pot. Show you it again. Right in the centre of the pocket. And would you believe it? He needed the blue back on its spot. And he's missed
Steve
a
Davis
comparatively easy shot after the difficult one he knocked in.
Shot clock in operation.
Possibly didn't give the easier one the requisite concentration after putting all his concentration into the initial red, but that was an uncharacteristic miss from Morgan. That's virtually the first easy ball he's missed in this tournament.
The only good thing from Darren's point of view, he hasn't left an easy opener, but there is a possibility here as we show you that sitter that he missed. Now, could that be a turning point?
One.
He needs a good shot now to get on to the next red. He's on the blue, but he's got quite a way to travel to find his next red. They're all blocking each other, or they seem to be, into the left corner pocket. This is a key shot here coming up. See if he can get nicely onto a red.
Foul.
Now that, I don't know why that's happened, because he hasn't hit it that hard.
Steve Davis 1.
Now that's baffled Steve.
Darren Morgan 5.
Sometimes it can happen when you hammer the ball. Let's have a look at this again. Maybe just caught the jaw first of all, Clive, but still didn't expect it to jump off the table. Yeah, he caught the bottom jaw of the pocket rather than right in the centre of the pocket.
So he didn't even show a profit on that little transaction.
I like that shot. I like that shot a lot. He's brought the black into play. The black was totally out of the game there. So he's still thinking very positive, is Steve. Can he get in behind the green off this shot? Just a little bit too thin to achieve the snooker that he was looking for there.
Good pot. Not the kindest run of the ball, but he has at least got something to go at.
Yeah, he can get back up to the reds here. He's got enough cue power to screw back here. Get away from that middle pocket.
Foul. Steve Davis 1.
Well, that's baffled
Darren Morgan
Steve.
4.
I mean, if you tried this shot, if you tried to pot that and screw into the middle pocket, it would be difficult to do.
One.
Now then, he missed an easy chance previously to Darren Morgan. It's a tricky pink up into the corner. He's looking at the black, which is a slightly more difficult pot. He's back looking at the pink. He knows the importance of this.
Please.
He's asked for a time extension.
Very nicely done.
Seven.
That was good thinking to have the time extension there rather than rush that difficult pot. Oh, that's a bit anxious. I've just sensed Clive on a couple of shots. He's just getting that little bit anxious as he's getting towards the winning line in this second frame. He's only 16 points ahead. Little wry smile from the Welshman there.
That's the second easy ball he's missed in this frame. Maybe he's allowed himself to think about winning rather than just playing the shot at hand.
Well, Steve's a long way off that as well. I mean, the one thing from Darren, a couple of times he has missed the easy ones. He hasn't left Steve an easy opportunity, so he's got away with it to a certain extent. But he's not going to keep missing, don't worry about that. That red wooden pot, he just played the attempted snooker there. It wouldn't go past the brown. It looked as if he'd missed the pot there, but it wouldn't go. Another poor safety shot from Steve, halfway down the table. Just hasn't quite got the angles right, and the table's so quick and he's just not judging them. Now, whether it's a sighting thing or whether it's a little bit of tension, he's not catching them as he wants.
Well, he's catching them too thick.
One.
Well, this is an excellent chance now for Darren Morgan. Steve Davis just hasn't been able to get in amongst the balls with a decent chance. The one chance he had in the opening frame, and we showed you that a couple of times when he potted the red, he was very unfortunate to knock the black in at the same time. Other than that, he hasn't really been in amongst the balls. Not the best. He wanted a slightly different contact on that red when he played the cannon.
16.
He's got to go into the other reds when he cuts this back. You'd think he'd finish on a colour, but when you're nudging reds, you're never absolutely sure. And he's left with another long pink. Okay, knocked one in previously. This is the shot that'll get him into the semi-final if it goes in, you would feel.
Or it throws a lifeline to Davis.
Well, there's the lifeline you mentioned, Clive.
17.
That was just pure tension there. Darren knew if he knocked the pink in, he could quite easily win the frame. He didn't even get close to that.
1.
Now then, Steve Davis, 6 times world champion. What can you do here?
Eight. 9.
2 easy reds remaining, 3 difficult ones. But he's quite a master tactician at removing awkward balls when they're on the cushion.
16. $70.
Key that he gets a good angle on the blue now to then do something about those difficult reds.
23.
I mean, he could drop on the one that's behind the black, and there wouldn't be as much pressure on that with the other 2 reds safe. So let's see if he can drop nicely on this one. Doesn't want to be dead straight, doesn't want to be straight on it, and that's not where he wanted the cue ball. I don't know if he's got a slight angle here. Can't do a great deal with that.
29.
All he could do. Takes the pot on. Got to watch the middle pocket here. The cue ball.
Foul.
Well,
Steve Davis, 29.
he hit the black thick. If he had a pot of the black, the white wouldn't have gone in the middle pocket.
Mr. Black on the thick side, hence the in-off.
This is a good shot from Darren. Once again, the perfect weight to leave that cue ball almost touching the ball cushion. Might be forced into having a go with this red near the black, because that one up near the brown, he's a bit reluctant to take the pot on, so if he can leave the white tight on this cushion behind the black spot area, get the red round behind the yellow. Well, he hasn't got the red where he wanted.
I wonder if he just rushed it the last few seconds with the beeps going. But this is not a very nice shot, even so.
He's got second best, I think. I don't know if he's so close to the green that he can't come off the side cushion and hit that red. Just depends. No, he's okay. Had he been touching the green, this escape route wouldn't have been available. I mean, Steve was hoping to knock this in and then lay the snooker. He got very close to it, but he did manage to get the snooker anyway. Now, big shot. That red looks as if it'll pass the green. You'd feel he'd have to knock this in. No. How's your luck? Well, once again, he's having a little glimpse of the winning post. And it's amazing how that can affect a shot. You try and play every shot as if it's just a shot on and forget about the winning post, but it's easier said than done.
Slight attack of clincher's disease.
Haven't heard that for a while, Clive, your old clincher's disease.
Well, it occurs when the player is dividing his thoughts between playing the shot to the best of his ability and thinking about the significance of the shot.
And is there a cure for it?
Many eminent psychiatrists have tried.
Yeah, people always ask you what happens. It's not a physical sport, snooker, a little bit like golf. What goes? And I think with the top golfers, they're still great players, but their nerve goes, especially on the putting. You know, that tends to let them down. Similar with snooker, every shot's a putt though, and that's not a bad putt there, so to speak.
Yes, it wasn't one of Davis's best safeties that offered Morgan that chance.
Yeah, I think when you're in this sort of situation, and we talked about Tony Chappell, how well he played. Tony seemed to be giving himself just a couple more seconds on the shot rather than rushing it, which is what you tend to do when you're not used to these sort of conditions. And it looks as if Darren's doing that here. He knows this is his big chance to get through to the semi-final.
8.
Now, the yellow would put him 25 in front, but there would still be 25 on.
Yeah, he's got an angle on the yellow here, and he'd love to get in between the black and green just to leave a chance to roll the green into the corner pocket. Maybe hasn't quite got enough angle on the yellow to force his way up to the green.
Time extension, please.
He's asked for the time extension, so if he hasn't got that angle, he can only pop the yellow and then play a safety shot on the green, but he'd dearly love to get straight on that green for the corner. He's tried it, and if he misses the pink, he's on it. Very well played.
40.
This is for the match then?
Well, it's a little tricky one. Here we go. And you've got the perfect picture.
So, if Darren Morgan was suffering from clincher's disease, he's obtained temporary relief because he's taken this winning chance very nicely.
Darren Morgan, 17.
Which leaves Steve Davis needing 2 snookers.
Yeah, the black's in a terrible position for a snooker. You want the black on its spot or a little bit closer to the cushion, not on the cushion. It's out of play at the moment with regards to snookers. And that's a shot we used to say when your opponent needs snookers, you play the shot in such a way. In or over, they used to call it. In the pocket or over the pocket will do. Now then, he's moved the black. So Steve Davis still thinking as well as ever. And he might be able to get in behind the black now if he gets a little touch aside on this. Watch this cue ball here. Have a look at the cue ball. It's not a bad effort. No, he's going to kiss the black, is he?
Steve Davis 4.
And Davis still needs 2 snookers.
If he gets a chance, he might pot the blue, because if he potted the blue, he'd only need 1 snooker to tie. So Darren can't just roll the blue over the pocket this time. Not a bad effort, just going to come up a little bit short, I feel. What about a little back double here to clinch the match? It's what we call a back double. He may take it on. No.
When your opponent needs snookers, it's a good idea to leave cue ball and object ball well apart. But that looked like a potting attempt. The idea being, once only pink and black remained, that any foul then was worth 6.
Right now, will he have a go at potting the blue this time? Okay, he'll only need that 1 snooker to tie, but it makes it much more difficult with only the 1 ball remaining on the table to snooker behind. Yeah, he's gone for the pot. Oh, and that is it.
Well, Steve Davis never really got going. Darren Morgan fell away a bit in the second frame, but still it's Morgan who goes through to the semi-finals, winner by 2 frames to 0.